You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. You look good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday, September 24th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're watching us live on YouTube, we appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. If you haven't subscribed, do that. If you have, thank you so much. Tell a friend or 2 or 10 about what we're doing each and every day around 10 a.m. Here in the Quad Cities. We're also live on X. X has been very good to us. So if you're partaking in the show via X, thank you for that. Feel free to repost it, retweet it, all that kind of stuff. Feedback is fantastic. So thank you for that. And we're also on all the podcasting platforms as well. So anywhere you get your podcasts, whether it be Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Podbean, you name it, wherever you go to, put in Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We'll come up, subscribe to that as well. I always say to people, listen to the show. You don't have to look at me. Listen to the show. That's probably the best way to do it. And we also want to thank and welcome our new viewers this week from Central Iowa. We appreciate you guys. We've gotten great feedback so far. So thank you so much. Thank you for taking in the show. And hopefully you're enjoying it. And we got a lot more to get to as we continue throughout the weeks and months ahead. So obviously a very busy time in the world of sports. It's been a fun week so far. You look at this week so far, we've had Gary Dolphin on, Scott Docterman on, Tom Kakert on, so many great guests so far already this week, and we're just getting rolling. It's Wednesday, and if you have watched the show in the past, you're kind of figuring out Wednesday is my Cyclone Wednesday. My good friend and our Cyclone expert, Jake Brend, is just around the corner to talk about the Cyclones coming off a bye week this past weekend. They get Arizona at Jack Trice Stadium coming up on Saturday, I believe, evening. We'll check with Jake, but I think it's an evening game as well. So a lot to get to. We'll talk about the Cyclones coming up in just a matter of moments. Later in hour number 1, if you're a Hawkeye fan, never fear, Pat Anger is here. Our weekly chat with the radio analyst for the Iowa Hawkeyes, former All-American, former Colt, all those kind of good things. Pat had an interesting weekend. First and foremost, Gary and Dolph had a fantastic call on Friday of the game. If you're an Iowa fan, go to the YouTube page for the Hawkeye Radio Network and just check it out. Listen, great chemistry as always. A lot of laughs along the way. So that was a ton of fun. But Pat had an interesting weekend because they had some bags lost. He got back super late, and then he was super dad and had to coach football and all those kind of things. So he had a sleepless weekend, and I mean that. So we'll talk to Pat about how he survived and all those things. Also, Pat is on the list and just got honored last weekend. Wasn't able to make the event, but one of the most influential people under 40 here in the Quad Cities. So life's good for Pat Anger. He's coming up in just a little bit. In hour two, we'll turn our attention to the high school side of things. A huge week in the TRAC, in the Three Rivers Conference. A battle of top three teams over at Rockridge, with Newman and Rockridge going head to head. And then in the other division, it's Monmouth-Roseville and Princeton, two of the best in the division and in the state as well. So huge week when it comes to the TRAC. Our friend Ty Taylor is here on Wednesdays. He's going to break it all down for us. All that plus Ness Guess, a familiar winner this week, which is kind of fun. We'll talk about, and we'll get you set for the upcoming week. Thank you to everyone that's taking part in Ness Guess. Obviously, free as can be. You click on the link, you pick your games, you win, you get Hungry Hobo. It doesn't get any better than that. So we'll start getting that link out to people as soon as the show gets over with, and take part in the Ness Guess. So Ness Guess from Hungry Hobo in Milan coming up in hour number 2 of the show. And we thank Hungry Hobo for being a great sponsor of our Ness Guess contest. So coming up this week on Friday, we'll take the show on the road. We're hoping for Rockridge and Edgington. We're going to test some internet here in the next couple of days to make sure we can survive out there, but I think that could be the place to be. Also, I want to thank, last night I had a great dinner. I don't get to go to a lot of the steakhouses, if you will. My wife and I sneaking out every once in a while, but I had never been to Ruthie's Steakhouse at all, and had dinner there. Jeff Collins, a fantastic human being, invited myself, Chuck Long, Tom Kakert, a bunch of his buddies, not Tom's buddies, but Tom doesn't have a lot of buddies, a bunch of Jeff's buddies to have dinner, talk Hawks, and had a blast. So I want to thank those guys. Thanks, Jeff, again. A very enjoyable evening. And if you couldn't tell from our interview with Chuck Long yesterday, Chuck, very entertaining as well. I love Chuck's stories. Heard a lot of them. Always love hearing them again. So thank you once again to Jeff for having us out to dinner last night. Got me out of some parenting duties, which is always fun every now and then as well. So also a quick reminder, the Hawkeye Tailgate Show comes up at 12:30 Saturday afternoon. Huge game, Iowa, Indiana, homecoming at Kinnick Stadium. Kick times at 2:30. We'll kick things off with the Hawkeye Tailgate Show coming up at 12:30. A lot of great guests lined up with that. So wherever you are around the state of Iowa, check out the Iowa or the Hawkeye Radio Network at 12:30. We'll kick things off on Saturday. Here in the Quad Cities, it's Vintage Radio, WQUD 107.7 FM. So check us out. It's been a bunch of fun, and another good show heading your way again this weekend. A couple quick notes when it comes to Iowa before we get to Iowa State. Kirk Ferentz met with the media yesterday. No Jazz Patterson this week, so expect freshman Ryan McNeil to get more of a workload. Intrigued by him as well. So bad news there, but good news when it comes to receiver Seth Anderson. He's back at practice. He seems like he'll be a go with the Hoosiers. So all that coming up, all that's exciting, and we'll get to much more when it comes to the Hawkeyes with Pat Anger coming up in just a little bit. But we start our Wednesdays like we always do. And people say, Matt, you're biased. You always talk Iowa. You never talk I talk Cyclones. And not just do I talk Cyclones, I bring in, the defending sportscaster of the year in the state of Iowa. Aren't you still the champion?
Yeah, you make it sound like I won it in like hand-to-hand combat.
It was you and Keith Murphy.
I watched Rocky 4 last night, so that's kind of what's on my mind. I was like Rocky just taking punches for 15 rounds.
In my mind,
survived.
It was Hell in the Cell, you and Murphy going back and forth, and finally you beat the wily old veteran. But
Keith Murphy does not want a piece of this.
No,
I can tell you
never
that.
Has, never will. In fact, Chris Hassel left the state. He was so scared of you. Like, I mean, he saw you coming that long ago and got out.
And I was a middle schooler.
I know, right? You weren't a middle schooler, were you? He's not that old.
I might have. When did he leave?
Jake, don't do this to me.
2013.
Don't do this to me. You're gonna make me feel. Oh,
I'll just keep my mouth shut.
Well, that's all the time we have for Jake Brend today here out there. No, excited to chat with you as always. How was your bye week? Before we get to, obviously a good game this weekend, Arizona coming to town. It's a night game, right? Before I look too stupid. All right, night game at
6
Jack
o'clock
Trice.
ESPN.
Always fun at Jack Trice Stadium. Before we get to that, how was your bye week? And how was your Saturday? I heard maybe some steak, maybe some brats, some football. How was it?
It was amazing. I did nothing but watch football from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m.
Oh,
And there's a lot of football in between there, which was glorious. It was just what I needed. The bye weeks this when you're in like real TV, not this independent media. There isn't really a such thing as a bye week. Yeah. Like even if Iowa State, UNI, even if they are all off Saturday, there's still a newscast. Well, for us, it's like our bye week is just as much of a bye week as it is for the team. So it was good to just be a spectator for a day and relax and be refreshed heading into what the Cyclones are calling the third quarter of the season.
Oh, we're going to have to explain that here in a second.
It doesn't make sense to me. But
no,
yeah.
I don't get it, and we're going to talk about it in a second. I will say, because I kind of felt like I had a bye week last week too, because Iowa played on Friday. So I had my Saturday available, and it's just you take advantage of it. And now I look forward to Iowa's bye week after Indiana because it is. You don't have, and we don't have, like for me, it was like if Iowa was on a bye week, it was Illinois was going on or Iowa State, everything like that. So, it's nice to kind of get caught up on stuff and actually watch my kids play football. I got out of what I was doing so I could watch my kids more, and I have been, and it's been fantastic. But I convinced my now 11-year-old to play football. He's pretty good as a flag football kid. And I said, you got to keep playing. And so I kind of convinced him, and then he gave me his schedule. He's like, Dad, here's the schedule. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to ever be at your game. And he's like, what? I go, well, you always play on Saturdays. So it was nice to get checking him out as well. Okay, the third quarter of Iowa State. That makes zero sense. How are they explaining it?
They just said it. I probably should have followed up. So I think the way that
Did they misspeak?
They're splitting the season up is they've got 3 bye weeks because they played week 0. So they had last week. They'll have a bye week after this upcoming 3-game stretch. Then they'll play 3 really tough games, and then another bye week. So I'm kind of guessing that they're just approaching it as, I don't know. Maybe they meant the second quarter and accidentally said the third quarter. But either way, they are splitting the season up into these little sections, which I think is really smart because you get through that 4-0 stretch. It wasn't always pretty. It ended with a slightly concerning win, but you get to the bye, you put all that behind you, get healthy, and you go now into this Arizona, Colorado, Cincinnati stretch.
Jake, we joked, what did you do on the bye? You needed it going to Ireland and all that kind of stuff. They needed it too. Kind of talk about the Cyclones, what they did, how they approached the bye week, because there's sometimes that like you're playing really well and you don't like to see the bye because you want to keep rolling. And Iowa State was 4-0, and we get that they are 4-0, but they needed this bye week. With everything they've gone through and the travels and the big games, they needed this bye week, didn't they?
Yeah, and they gave us all the answers of like, oh, even though it was a bye, we were still going hard at each other, and I don't doubt that, but there also had to be a factor of more of a mental reset than anything. Like they're football players, you're not just taking a week off from hitting each other. That might get confused with the fans, but probably not having a game on Saturday. That entire week of practice, it really was Iowa State against Iowa State again. You're not thinking about Arizona. You're not thinking about Cincinnati or Colorado constantly. And that's probably where it was good. And on the other end, your players that were injured didn't have to necessarily rush back. Matt Campbell shared yesterday that pretty much every player that has been injured thus far outside of the kicker, Kyle Conrarty, is going to play on Saturday. So Gabe Burkle, we haven't seen Carson Willick since the first game. Aiden Flora pulled a hammy against South Dakota. A lot of key players are going to be back on Saturday, and that shows that the bye week probably did what it was supposed to do.
You mentioned Kyle Conrarty. How concerning is that? Take us through an update, and where does Iowa State go from here?
Well, as you know, Matt Campbell is kind of a tough nut to crack when it comes to injuries. But what I will say about Campbell is if an injury is a season-ending injury, he's upfront about that. So it's encouraging that pretty much all of the reports, whether it's from Kyle's girlfriend on TikTok or his dad on Twitter, pretty much everything has said that they expect him back in 4 to 6 weeks. And that was how Matt Campbell was talking at Tuesday's press conference. So if you can maybe survive these next 3 games without him, get into that second bye week and get him for the next push, that would be massive, because not having Conradi changes everything. Like, he's made a 63-yard field goal. He's made 2 game-winning 54-yard field goals in the last 2 years. When you're on a game-winning drive, and if you only need 3 points to win the game, your range, your play calling changes. Now you've got a true freshman from your area over at North Scott, who his career long in high school is 42. It just changes things when you don't have total confidence. And Campbell said that they've got confidence in Chase Smith, but it's hard to have the same amount of confidence as a guy like Conradi, who has proven it in and out again. So it changes things, and it changes how Iowa State will be calling plays on the opposite side of the field, I'm guessing.
And you mentioned, and Iowa fans know it too, when you have someone like that, you knew in that last drive in the Iowa game, or the second to last drive, if you will, but when Iowa State had the football, they had to get to a certain spot. And even when he got to that spot, it was, and you'd never like to jinx it, and an announcer jinx and all that, but he's pretty money. So, and big kicks too. So something to monitor, but obviously good news that the thought process is he comes back sometime this year. Jake Brend from the CycloneFanatic joining me right now and off the air with Matt Randazzo. Okay, so we could talk about an opponent now, and Arizona comes to town. And I think you looked at this schedule maybe before the season, and you had that's an easy win. Arkansas State, but like when you started to look at the Big 12, I think you looked at this as a extremely winnable game, and I think it still is a winnable game, but it's probably a little different now here on September 24th than it was when we talked in July. Arizona poses a little more of a threat to Iowa State than maybe we first thought coming into the season.
Yeah, 100%. Brent Bloom and I over at CF did, before the season, we guessed all of what the point spreads would be. And we had Arizona as the only double-digit conference game. I think we put it at 2 touchdowns, just based off of what they did last year and how they looked and what they lost. And they have completely turned it around. And if you haven't checked it out, Jeff Woody, former Cyclone and now ESPN analyst, did a podcast with my boss, Chris Williams, on Iowa Everywhere yesterday. He called an Arizona game this year and gave so much great insight. And I can kind of give the cliff notes from it. But essentially, Brent Brennan, Arizona's coach, is in his 2nd year. He got the job in January of 24, which was after the transfer portal was closed. So while everybody else was building their roster in the middle of December, he didn't even get on the job until January 20th. Wow. And the players that he had to choose from were super limited. So essentially, whatever we saw from Arizona last year, you can completely just wipe the slate clean, because it wasn't an equal playing field for them. They almost completely cleaned house with coaches and players this offseason. So I would treat this team brand new. And they're playing this insanely unique style of defense. They don't fill gaps on the D-line. It's unbelievable. They stunt every single possession, and they pretty much just take their D-line out of the play and the opposite O-line out of the play and just try and take your head off with their linebackers and safeties. It's going to be a challenge, and Taylor Mauser said it's something he's never really seen before, the style of defense they're playing. So it's going to be a challenge on Saturday night in Jack Trice Stadium.
Jake, when you look at this team in Iowa State, they're coming off the bye. What's something you're looking at after the bye that you want to see improvement? You saw the first 4 games and 4 wins, and that's the bottom line. But when we talked last week, there were certain things that you wanted to get better. As we move on and we play this next stretch of 3 games, whatever it is, where do you want to see Iowa State take some steps forward?
I think, of course, there's a ton of areas, but one that immediately comes to mind for me is I want the wide receivers to catch up to Rocco Becht a little bit. And I think we saw it towards the end of the first 4 games. You bring in Xavier Townsend from UCF. You bring in Chase Sewell from East Carolina, 2 pretty highly coveted transfers, and they didn't do much the first couple games. And we come to find out we knew that they were dinged up in fall camp. I think they were more injured during fall camp than we knew, and we were led to believe. And we saw those two emerge towards the end. And I think Rocco has had an A to an A plus start of the season. He has just completely elevated his game, but there's been like 6 or 7 just bad drops. And we didn't really see that last year from Iowa State's NFL wide receivers. So I think if those receivers, I gave them a C grade to start the year, if they can elevate to a B, I think that that'll just take Iowa State's offense to a whole nother level. And then at that point, you'd hope that the kicking situation maybe doesn't matter as much as it did the first 4 weeks.
You kind of hope too that the kicking situation won't. I mean, there's 3 games, and they're Cincinnati's probably the most difficult of the 3. But there's very winnable games that it doesn't come down to those type of things. Let's talk defense. Getting to the quarterback is something that Iowa State hasn't done. What do they do in the bye week to change that? Do they have to win more up front? Or is it a scheme thing in which they got to figure out ways to maybe get to the quarterback a little more? Or do you just say, hey, it's not what we do the best, so we're gonna play to our strengths and do different things?
Yeah, I'm kind of at the point where if we haven't seen it yet, I just don't know how realistic it is. If I want to give the optimistic view, it's that Tomatoa McDonough, the transfer from Yale, was able to get pressure in the second half of the Iowa game. He only played 12 snaps against Arkansas State. He wasn't hurt. I don't know if it was 100 degrees out, so they were doing some different stuff with the D-line. So my hope would be, well, they went super vanilla against Arkansas State, and maybe he's the guy that's on the edge that has to win those battles. Because when you have Dominique Orange in the middle, it makes life, or it's supposed to make life easy for the guys on the edge. And so far this year, and even last year and the year before that, we just really haven't seen a bunch of Iowa State defensive ends win these one-on-ones on the edge. So that's the optimistic view. The pessimistic view would be, well, it has been dang near a 3-year sample size of them not getting to the quarterback and not getting pressure on the quarterback. So you might just have to find other ways to win ball games on defense. And that's by relying on your super strong secondary and almost forcing coverage sacks. But this upcoming Saturday, and even the following and the next one, it's 3 straight mobile quarterbacks. If you can't move them off their spots, they're just going to be able to dance around in the pocket and find open receivers, because that's how defense works. So I'm guessing John Haycock has been thinking nonstop about the plan to do that. Is it sending an extra linebacker each play? Is it mixing up the blitzes more? But they've certainly got to find a way. Maybe not. You don't necessarily need sacks. Like, I think we can accept that Iowa State's probably not going to be towards the top of the conference in sacks, but you got to make Fafita uncomfortable on Saturday if you don't want him to dice you up.
Okay, give me some things that have to happen. Give me some thoughts on the game and your prediction on Iowa State hosting Arizona, as you mentioned, 6 p.m. kickoff, ESPN. What does Iowa have to State to do to be, and they're obviously the favorites, to be successful, and then maybe give me a final score prediction as well.
So I think you just can't turn the ball over. This game is going to be, it's going to be weird. I'm guessing in the first half, Iowa State's probably going to have 3 or 4 possessions where they go 3 and out, or they might have like 6 negative plays because of the way Arizona plays. They gamble every single play, and they're going to try and take your head off. They're not worried about wrapping up. They're not worried about fundamentals. They're trying to break your running backs and your receivers in half. What does that do? Well, one, it can hurt you, like 100%. But if they miss, that's where the big plays open up. So I would expect Iowa State to be able to hit enough big plays in this game to maybe make it a little bit uncomfortable for Arizona in the first half. But I kind of expect Iowa State to trail at halftime in this game, but still go on to win. I think I picked by 10 points. My score prediction was 30-20. This is also not an inexperienced Arizona team because they've got a lot of upperclassmen transfers, but they haven't played in a road game together. And Jack Trice is going to be on fire on Saturday night. It's a whiteout. It's a night game. Their offensive line is the most penalized offensive line in the country. I think Iowa State will be able to affect that offensive line enough to keep Arizona to a respectable 20 points and go on to pick up a nice double-digit win on Saturday night.
Jake Brend from CycloneFanatic joining me right now. One more for you. So we chatted last week, and I kind of asked you if Iowa State and Illinois would play each other because they're the two Quad City teams that are what would happen. You mentioned, oh boy. Were you surprised with what happened in Bloomington? I mean, obviously you feel more comfortable about your pick of Iowa State if they did play, but did you see that coming? And then in general, maybe your thoughts on after you had a Saturday to watch football, so you probably watched some of that. You probably got off that game pretty quick when it was a blowout. And just maybe your thoughts on, is Indiana legit? They come to Iowa City this week.
Oh, man.
But first off, your thoughts on the game last week and then maybe this week's game in Iowa City.
I'd love to tell you that I saw that coming, but my DraftKings account would say otherwise with my Illinois plus 5.5 and money line bets. So that it's safe to say that game was off my TV pretty quick. I was not happy with with the Fighting Illini. But again, I like to say that I'm a Big 12 expert and I try to be a college football expert. I'll be honest, I didn't know the secondary problems for Illinois injury-wise heading into that game. So
and they didn't help when they had that guy get
the bad targeting. That was garbage.
Awful call.
Total
Awful
garbage.
Call. Yep.
So I was shocked by what I saw. I'm also starting to think that there's nothing fluky about Indiana. Cignetti is a great coach. I think there's enough of a sample size that shows, Indiana is a top 10 team in the country, and that's going to be a massive challenge for Iowa on Saturday. But to say that I saw a 50-point win coming in Bloomington on Saturday, no shot. I thought Illinois would win the game outright, and I was totally wrong.
I kept on saying the days of 63-0, which is what Iowa beat them by in 2018, were gone because Brett Bielema wouldn't allow that to happen. And then we turn around and 63-10, I guess, is still in play. But I think fascinating, Utah college football, that game's fascinating this week with USC and Illinois. Where does Illinois go? Because it can get slippery. You know, if you don't win that game, they go to Purdue, which they should win, but Purdue's playing better. They got Ohio State. They still got a trip to Washington. So, but that game, I mean, you look at this week, Iowa, Indiana, Iowa State, Arizona, and Illinois, USC, just in our vicinity. But then Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Penn State. I mean, you should have had this week be the bye week instead of last week.
I know, I was talking about that yesterday.
I mean, is there a game that intrigues you the most this weekend when it comes to all of college football?
I think it's tough to not pick Oregon, Penn State. We know so much about Penn State without knowing anything about them.
Yeah.
Like, we know the pedigree of their roster. We know that I think Drew Aller's a pretty dang good quarterback. We know what their atmosphere is like, but they haven't played a team with a pulse.
Yeah.
So you've probably seen that I've been doing my top 25 each week, and I just keep dropping Penn State, and it's not based off of poor performance, but when Texas Tech goes on the road and beats the crap out of Utah, I'm rewarding teams that are winning games. And I believe Miami. I put Indiana over Penn State too. So this is a shot where Penn State wins this game. I'll probably just flip them with Oregon and throw them back up at number 3. But I'm very intrigued to see what both of these teams are, because I think you could argue too that while Oregon's wins have been in dominant fashion, I don't know if they have necessarily an impressive win yet, considering how bad Oklahoma State and Oregon State are. So I'm bummed that I won't get to watch that game live, but I'm so excited to see what happens out in Happy Valley.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at it, it's just, I go back to Happy Valley. I go back to, I know that atmosphere. I've seen it. It's a night game. And yeah, I mean, Penn State's supposed to be good, and everybody came back, or a lot of people came back, and like you mentioned, but I haven't seen it yet on the field this year. So I would lean Penn State, but it's going to be a great weekend of college football. Remind people, and Jake, I don't know if you know, but we have a bigger viewing audience. We're on in Central Iowa as well at 7 p.m. in the evenings. And so remind people how they get CycloneFanatic, your content, all of those kind of things before we let you go.
Super easy. CycloneFanatic on YouTube. It's just the best one-stop shop to get all of our Cyclone coverage. If you go to our YouTube page right now, we've got full interviews with Matt Campbell, Taylor Mauser, 4 players from yesterday. We've got my daily clones. It's my 7-8 minute daily reports on all things Cyclones, all of the great podcasts that we have on our network. So CycloneFanatic on YouTube or CycloneFanatic.com. You'll see all the same stuff, and it's the best time. Crossover season is almost here. Iowa State Basketball Media Day, 2 weeks from today. So we'll have to switch up our weekly our weekly spot for that week.
Whoa,
but 2 weeks from today.
Are you saying TJ's more important than me? Like,
Have you seen his arms?
That's true.
I can't.
That's true. I don't
can't
compare.
I can't make TJ mad. That'd be a bad business decision.
And Quad City Cyclone fans, you mentioned it. Chase Smith, a big part of what Iowa State's going to be doing in the next month or so. So a lot of coverage there when it comes to the new kicker and some Quad City angles as well. Jake, be good. Enjoy your Saturday night at Jack Trice Stadium, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Always appreciate you.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Dazzo.
All right, that is Jake Brend from the CycloneFanatic. Joins us every Wednesday. He'll do next Wednesday. I think I have to go beat up TJ, I guess, to get him to come back the following one. But always appreciate Jake. Great insight. And the Cyclones with a big game coming up this week. Back in action at Jack Trice Stadium. And I agree with what Jake said. Like, eventually, and I think I'm impressed with Arizona, but being at home and in that atmosphere, it might start slow, but once it gets rolling, at Jack Trice Stadium, I think the Cyclones will improve to 5-0 in this season. So we appreciate Jake, and check out all his stuff at CycloneFanatic or CycloneFanatic YouTube page as well. We got a lot more to get to. Coming up after the break, we're joined by the one and only Pat Anger. We're going to talk to him about his weekend, his dominance of life, basically, with the Under 40 award, and we'll talk a lot of Iowa football as well. You're watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo right here, September 24th. It's a Wednesday. We will be back right after this. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Yeah, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. Big football weekend coming our way, and it's always fun to chat with our good friend Pat Anger. And it was hard this week. It was a struggle. We like to get to him earlier, but he's here. You look good. You look refreshed. You look like you're ready for a big weekend of football.
Yeah, I am. I'm ready to go. Actually, I'm so refreshed. I usually wake up at 5:30 and I don't need to set an alarm. And yesterday I roll over and I look at my phone. It was 7 o'clock. I overslept and had to get everybody in the house up and get them going. So yeah, I got my sleep in. I'm ready to go.
So how far did that put you behind? Because that's a horrible feeling, especially when everybody realizes you don't do an alarm at all.
Well, sometimes I do, but usually I'm up at 5:30, up at 6. Get my stuff done. But yeah, I didn't. I didn't yesterday, and no, it didn't put us behind. I was able to get the kids to school on time, and it's just funny, like we were late because of me, and so then I'm get them up, and then I'm yelling at them the whole time on the way to school. That's totally my fault.
Yep.
So it's just but no, I'm ready to go.
I've been there. My wife will get mad at me. She's like, "Don't take it out on them that you're an idiot." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. That's the point you should live by in life. Like, you're the idiot, so kind of own it." How was your trip to Rutgers and to New Jersey? Not the Big Apple, as which I said last week, but to New Jersey. How was everything? And I've been hearing that it was a hectic weekend for you. You didn't get a ton of sleep.
Yeah, it was the trip was great, man. It was had a good time. The flight was pretty quick. I think we flew pretty fast, so that was nice. I don't do good on flights. I'm too big. I'm all squished in there. And me and the spotter, my man Swish, we snuggled up there pretty tight in the corner. But no, we got there, had a good meal. And then the game was. It was such a fun game to call. Like, the atmosphere was great. I thought they did a really good job, and they really wanted this one. Like, you could tell they really freaking wanted this one. Like, they put a Ferris wheel and stuff outside the stadium or whatever. Like, they wanted it. They needed it, and they came out and they had success early. Obviously, taking the kickoff back by my man Speed and Weege, was a great start. And then Rutgers came back, and what was it, 14-7, and it was almost like. And then we battled back. It was almost like the last team with the ball was going to win. And I mean, it's been so long since we've had a quarterback take us to victory. Like it's been a while since we've had that. And like, how cool is that for Mark? It was great. And just like building a team and building a culture to kind of propel you the rest of the season. I think this win was something like that, something that can propel you. And it's great going into, a big game against Indiana. The fact that we've been in a couple dogfights. We were in a dogfight against Iowa State, and this one was a dogfight. Now it was more of a shootout, but we came out victorious. And so it was just a fun one to call. Lots of giggles in the booth with Gary, just a good time. And then we fly back after the game, so got home or landed at about 5 and drove back to the Quad Cities, and then had to drive up to Dubuque for a youth football game. So didn't get any sleep, and I went to Dubuque. The kids played well, and came back home. Was able to sleep for a couple hours before I had to go to another event that night. So yeah,
you texted a group of texts that were in it, and it was probably 5, 6 in the morning. You have to make a conscious decision at that point, and I've been there, whether you're going to sleep or not. I think you made a good decision. Take us through that decision, because you can go get a little bit of sleep, but sometimes that's just an awful, like getting up after like an hour and a half of sleep is sometimes worse. Take us through the thought process and a little breakfast. That's a pretty good idea too.
Yeah, I ended up at Jimmy's what I was nervous about. I was nervous that because I didn't plan on coming home that night. I wanted to stay up there and then meet my family in Dubuque, but the radio crew's luggage didn't make it back, so that kind of sucks. I didn't have any clothes. So I was like, all right, well, I got to go back home and get my clothes. And what I was nervous about was my wife wasn't responding to my text. Obviously, she was sleeping. I figured she'd get up, go to the bathroom or something and see it, but she didn't. So I was worried about going into my house, sneaking in there at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning or whatever, and the alarm's going off and her shooting me. And I just didn't want to get shot. And that was a big fear of mine. Yeah. So I was like, well, I'll just go to breakfast by myself, have some coffee. And Jimmy's was phenomenal. It was great, as always. And then she finally woke up and gave me the all clear and put her gun down, and I was able to come home and get the day going.
I wish you got shot. That would have been good. Not badly. Like just something
Yeah,
like
just
a little
yeah,
a
like
how
my
do you
like
do?
shoulder or something.
Yeah, something that like you can tell a good story about.
Problem is,
And
man, that'd be hard to miss.
that's true. Do you have um do you get like dad of the year? Like that's pretty impressive. Like people, and I'm not saying from everybody else, but do you get built up equity? Because God knows we screw up a lot, Pat. Like a lot. Like do you get any built up equity that like, hey, you did this that weekend, so when you screw up next weekend, it like evens out a little bit, or no? Father of the year?
I don't know. My wife kind of she does so much good that I've got a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can't really. Yeah, I don't have a leg to stand on. Honestly, I don't want to push it. I just kind of just keep having good days and
Stacking
keep
good
moving
days.
forward.
Stack good days. It's the same thing in football as it is in a marriage. Just keep
Yep.
stacking good days. Pat Anger joining us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We're going to talk more football, but you and I don't know if people know this, but you're like awarded the greatest 40-year-old in the history of the world or something like that this past weekend, or under 40, which is shocking. You're under 40 still because of all you've accomplished. But I wanted to say congratulations. That is cool. It was like top 40 people under 40 in the Quad Cities or something like that. Explain what it is, and then you fooled them. I don't know how you get it, but like, congrats, man.
I think they just probably assumed I wouldn't make it until 40, so they wanted to knock it out. But no, it was something that my team members at work nominated me for, and I found out about this later on. Is that you go through like it's like a process. You got to have people like do recommendations for you, and obviously our CEO Brian Laufenberg did, but my boss and our marketing team reached out to Coach Ferentz and Dolph, and both of them wrote recommendation, which was pretty cool. It's not like Coach Ferentz doesn't have anything going on, right now, and for him to take the time to write something like that, and yeah, it was great. And obviously, unfortunately, I wasn't able to go, and but my wife was able to go and represented me better than I could have, and my daughter went and she had a great time. My boys showed up, and obviously, they're young teenage boys, so they thought it was lame, but my daughter had a blast and my wife had a blast, and it was cool, and yeah, obviously honored, and it was a good group to be a part of, and yeah.
Keep fooling them, man. That's all I say. Keep fooling them.
Yeah, he's got to fool one person.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Well, you deserve it. Congratulations. Let's talk a little bit football.
I don't know if I do. I don't know if I do, Matt, but I'll take it.
No, hey, exactly. Like same thing. Take the good because the bad's coming. So take the good when you can get it. We know that. Pat Anger joining us right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Let's talk a little football. And I'm not saying that we had golf on Monday, and it just obviously it's if you want to start your week out right, talk to Gary Dolphin. And that's the way I feel like with my show. Like the show started off so great on a Monday because Gary Dolphin sitting there in a hotel room in Des Moines. The guy's as busy as ever and taking time to chat with me, which was awesome. But you guys were in your element, I felt like, on the game on Friday night. I listened to a lot of the game. I usually pair it with my TV if I'm at home. And I talked to him about and you mentioned the giggles, and we'll maybe talk about some of that a little bit later. But there were so many big moments, Pat. Like that game, you can sit there and say, what was the biggest play of the game? And you can go block punt or block field goal. You can go deep pass to Howard. There's so many different ones you can go with. In your mind, in your opinion, what were the one, maybe two turning points or biggest plays in that game?
Oh, man. The drive there toward the end where Mark kind of led it and it put us up. I want to say Howard. That was when Howard made that catch. I thought it was just there was like 4 or 5 calls in a row that Lester called that was just like perfect, like absolutely perfect, and execution was great. And you saw that competitor, you saw the leadership of Mark there, and it's like that's why we got him, and that's why this team is different from last year and different from years in the past. Block field goal was great. Obviously, Mad Max Llewellyn's kind of rushing the passer and getting his hands on it, and then Rex Roth intercepting it toward the end to kind of basically seal the game. Like that was huge. Weegan starting the game with with the kickoff return, that was great. Wasn't even touched. He is so good. He's so good, and I know
the whole unit's good, Pat. The whole
Correct.
freaking unit is good. Like that's, and you know that in football in general, but special teams, that unit. I mean, I'm probably making it to the 50, maybe, probably not, but like just everybody blocked it up so well.
Yes, they did, and even when it goes to the end zone, like the dudes are fighting. When it's a touchback, dudes are fighting. Like dudes are scrapping. And it's a want. Like special teams is a will and it's a want. It's like a want to. Like you've got to have that fire. You've got to be tough. It's not like a glorious, to be on kickoff return. Like it's not like a glorious position. It's not a glorious spot to be. But when you have that buy-in and you have that fight and you have that effort, and it's kind of contagious amongst the special teams. Like you've got a squad. And props to LeVar Woods for that culture that he has there and the want to. Man, nobody gets to 1,000% with one step faster than Weegan. Like as soon as he gets the ball, he's at full speed.
Yeah,
it's unreal. And we did have it. We had a talk. One of our friends asked, "What returner would you rather take, Tim Dwight, Cooper?" Or
we've been talking
or
about it
Weegan?
this week. We've been talking about it on the show. I know you know that because you've been watching. But what's your?
You got to go
thoughts on
Tim.
that?
You got to go Tim. Obviously, you got to go Timmy D. But man, we just sure making a call. He's it's tough to not consider him one of the best. Well, he is one of the best to ever come through Iowa as far as a returner, but if not the best.
Yeah, and he has more work to be done. Like he's got more games to play. So I do think it was a great question. We talked with Scott Docterman about it. I threw it out to
Scotty
Chuck.
too hotty.
Yeah, Scott Chuck Long mentioned it yesterday. So it's been a topic of conversation. We got a smart text group every once in a while. I can only say like 1%, maybe 2% of the things that are said on there, but that question was one of the best things that have been put on there. I want to talk to you about the block punt because I keep calling it punt.
Okay.
Field goal, because I don't know if I've heard you get more excited about a play. Did somebody pinch you? Was Dolph tickling you? Like what? You went from like here to like here really fast.
Yeah, I was pretty invested in that game. I was going through it. I was going through the highs and the lows, and yeah, man, it was. And I don't. Well, I do scream in the mic, but never have I screamed in the mic like that before. It was just we needed it so bad. We needed it so bad, and it happened. And just the fight, man. I mean, there were 3 or 4 guys that got through there. Just the will to get there. First of all, to hold them into field goal position, and then make that play. Man, it was great. And I got a soft spot for the incredible Herc. He's a good man, and so yeah, I was very, very happy for him. And yeah, I felt bad. I yelled and then I quick hugged Dolph to apologize. So it was.
It's endearing. It's endearing, Pat. Like if I did that, like on the pregame show, if I was screaming like an idiot, people would be like, "Get this guy out of here." You're endearing. People like you. It's a beautiful thing. Pat,
I don't know what endearing means, but I appreciate that.
I want to talk about the defense real fast because it was concerning in the first half, and then it looked fantastic in the second half, except for one big throw. Basically, there was a drive, but it was a big throw that got him where it was at. Obviously, adjustments were made, and we talked with Tom Kakert. We did our post show afterwards that people love, and I know you probably listened to it as well because people love it. But I want to reaffirm with you what Tom kind of talked about. Well, or I guess I'll just ask you, what changed in the second half that made that defense going from not being able to stop anybody to being pretty good?
Yeah, we started sending pressure. We were 3 under 3 deep, which would mean we'd drop we'd drop a DN like Max Llewellyn was dropping back in the pass coverage, and yeah, just sending pressure, trying to get that ball out quick. And one thing, with our quarterback is he makes smart throws. He makes good decisions. He's not going to force anything. But when you put that pressure on him early, he's got to get that ball out fast. He's a guy you can't give him time to throw because he'll pick you apart. Very good quarterback, and completely different than what he was, I would say, when he was at Minnesota. He's improved quite a bit, and their staff's doing a really great job with him. Got the street sweeper coming. Hopefully that's not too loud.
No,
obviously living in a nice street, they got to sweep the dust off the gold.
We don't have street sweepers out here. We don't. I mean, but I don't live in a gated community like you live in. So, wow.
What'd you say?
Yeah, exactly. Wow, it's getting. You guys are fancy out there. Fancy.
Yeah,
out there.
it's the gold brick roads we have out here in Bettendorf. They've got to make sure they're clean.
Is it Bettendorf, Pat?
Well, it's on the other side of the street, so it is Bettendorf. I'm currently in Davenport.
Okay, I was just curious. I didn't know for sure.
Yeah, so
so I think we mainly got through that, but changes and now moving forward, obviously, a big test when it comes to Indiana this week. What do you? I know you've been watching some video and some game film and all that kind of stuff. You watched them against Illinois. I'm sure you felt bad for Illinois watching on Saturday night. No, nothing. Your thoughts on Indiana coming in, and maybe a little bit on Illinois if you want to mention that as well. It's up to you.
I don't have many thoughts, but the one thing, so like I haven't watched them play. I mean, I rarely ever watch a football game full, other than Iowa, or if I'm watching cut-ups on film. And obviously we didn't play them last year, so I haven't really sat down and watched Indiana. And yeah, I figured I knew they've got good skill positions. I knew they've got a good quarterback, but what was really surprising is their offense and defensive line. And I would say, their offensive line, I didn't think that they were that good. But I didn't know. I haven't watched them, and they get a good push. They're big, they're tough, they get in your way. Their running backs do a really good job of hiding behind the linemen and making cuts. Their defensive line and their linebackers super aggressive. They play extremely hard. It's interesting watching them play because the ball is rarely ever on the ground when they're passing. Like there's not a lot of incompletions. It's like rarely ever do they throw an incompletion. And when they get the ball, like their yards after catch are phenomenal. Like they're trying to score every single time they get the ball. They make plays, they fight for everything. And it's obviously special teams is great. They blocked a punt against Illinois and returned for a touchdown. They play with a lot of effort. And it's contagious. I feel like they really, really feed off each other. They're well coached. I know they had a couple misfires in the back end. I think one of them was for a long bomb. One of them Illinois was able to capitalize on. But other than that, they don't give up good plays. It's interesting. Like they get, it's kind of like the Colts back in the day. Score a bunch of points and then sit back and cover two and make them just throw the check down, not get beat deep. And it's kind of what they do. Like they score in a hurry, and they score in bunches, and they do a good job playing with that lead because they'll sit back in Tampa too and just, hey, hit the check down on us. We don't care. And when they smell blood, like they get after it. Like they whatever. Hey, we're going to go. They're not going to turn it off. Like they're just going to keep going and keep pouring it on you. Impressive and fun to watch. We're going to really have to, where I think we have the benefit of, which also is interesting. Like Illinois came out and they played man, which I was surprised with defensively. And I know they had some guys in the back end that were injured, and I think they had a guy get kicked out, I want to say. Mm-hmm. But we're going to have to make this physical. And that's when they play. And I watched a little bit of their tape from Notre Dame. Notre Dame kind of made that a physical game. And you have to do it. You have to do it with them. And I think Iowa does a really good job of that, especially with our offensive line. And that's going to allow us, like Indiana, they control the clock better than anybody. They're number 2 offense in the nation, number 2 or 3 defense in the nation. They've got more first downs than anybody. They give up less first downs than anybody. They control the clock better than anybody. Like it's insane. Like every single stat that you want, like they're at the top of that. So in order for us to kind of compete with that, we've got to run the ball. We've got to be physical up front. And I think we've got the guys to do that. Obviously, it's going to be tough. I think I heard Coach say Jazz was out this weekend in his press conference. So that's going to be tough. He's kind of a big hitter for us, but it'll be exciting to see, McNeil get some more reps. And TJ Washington, great player. But run the ball, control the clock, control field position, and we can't beat ourselves. We absolutely cannot beat ourselves. So it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game, but I like the fact that we've been in 2 fights and that we just won our last one, and we're kind of cooking with gas, and we've improved every single week. I'm looking forward to it. Listen to Coach Signetti talk. Right away said this week is going to be a lot harder than last week. So he's aware, and hopefully their kids aren't. Hopefully they come in with a chip on their shoulder, and thinking that they're, just going to walk all over us. And we like that. And I like being the underdog. And I like this team. I like these Iowa boys. We need a big, huge win. And I like our group. I like our chances.
Pat Anger joining us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Just one or two more before I let you go. I know you got to go tackle the world, but you mentioned that offensive line. I think when it came to PFF grades, it was like Gronowski, and then all 5 linemen were the top 6. And I think you mentioned that that's exactly where they have an advantage. Pat, I look at this game, and man, it sets up for a team coming off a big primetime home victory, emotional win. Now they got to go on the road to a place. I'm sorry, they've never played. I know they played at Ohio State a few times, and maybe another place, but Kinnick is just different. And so I think it's an advantage, Iowa being at home, getting them off an emotional win. I think it's a great spot, an opportunity for Iowa. And we've talked about on the show, they play 3 teams that played in the playoffs last year, all at home this year. Indiana's the first of 3 of them. I think it's a great opportunity. I guess big picture, I like Iowa. I really like Iowa this week. And I know you're obviously going to pick the Hawks, but do you kind of see it as a good opportunity at home to pick up that signature victory before the bye week next week?
No, yeah. I mean, just like you mentioned, and this is Indiana's first away game of the year. They're coming in like, there's a lot of things that are in our corner here, and yeah, man, I really do like Iowa, but also no matter what, I'm going to pick Iowa. Like I'm a homer to the core, man. I bled for that place. I bled for those coaches, and I do it again. And just this team, like it's a different feel than last year. It really is. Like when Mark got that ball and we were down, I didn't have any doubts that we weren't going to score. Like I knew that he was going to lead us there. He's a competitor. Like he's a winner. He loves this. Like he wants the ball in his hands. And I know our defense is going to make plays. It's just, we have the guys to do it, but we've got to play really well, and we've got to not give them anything. We've got to not have any mistakes, and turn it into a fist fight. I like these boys when it comes to a fist fight.
Last one for you, and I think the best one for you. I think Dolph created something that could be huge for you. He introduced Fat Pat's stats. Probably one of the – I probably laughed harder at that than I laughed at anything in probably a month. That was fun, wasn't it?
Oh, dude, we were dying. We were dying up there in the booth. There was a lot of situations on Friday where some inside jokes and some things that were said, and we were just dying, and that was perfect. That was absolutely perfect. I loved it. He felt bad about it, and we were me, Corey, and Swish were just dying.
Well, just so you know, Tom and I were dying as well, laughing. I had people on Twitter asking me if I paid Dolph off just for him to call you Fat Pat. I'm like, no, I didn't. I wish I did, and it would have been the best money ever spent. But that's what, and I'll let you go, but that's what you see with you two. And I know you don't want to like talk yourselves up and all that kind of stuff, but in just 2 years, hell, not even 2 years, 15 games, 16 games, like the chemistry, y'all like each other. And anybody who's watching this, they like each other. And that's a huge thing when it comes to spending 5 hours every Saturday talking about Iowa football, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, gosh, I couldn't imagine if I didn't like and care for Dolph and Corey and Swish and and Robbie and all those guys. That yeah, I mean, and one thing, Dolph's. Oh, well, you just do the pregame and then you go home back to your mansion.
Go
on. It's a good group, and you know that you've been a part of it. And, Gary's the best. It almost sounds like a broken record because I continue to say that, but. He's just such a good man and a good human. And hell, you talked to him on Monday, and he was already in Des Moines doing something. What he does for the university, he's the voice on the radio, but he's also the voice and the face, across the state. He represents Iowa extremely, extremely well. And he's a caring guy. He's a kind guy. Like he'll do anything for anybody. So yeah, man, I love that dude. And I need him to do this another 20 years. And, let's hope that we can get that done because he's great. I love him love him like a brother, and he's a great leader and just a good human being.
Yeah, he's got 20 years left. He's in his prime. He's just getting started, Pat.
Absolutely, 100%.
So,
Now, I don't know if I have 20 years left, but I know Gary
about
does.
Radio, I definitely don't think you do, but I don't know about 20 years left in total. But
Exactly.
You and me both.
Yep.
So, well, this has been Fat Pat Anger. We appreciate you, my friend. Enjoy the call. It's a 2:30 kick.
That's
Fat Pat. It was great. I need to get the call of it, and like I'm gonna make a little open for when you come on the show, and that's got to be part of it. I got to get on that. So it's 2:30 kick, Kinnick Stadium, Iowa, Indiana. The one and only Gary Dolphin and Pat Anger on the call on the Hawkeye Radio Network. Have a great Wednesday, friend. We'll catch up with you again real soon. Always great to catch up with Pat Anger here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. A big game, Iowa, Indiana. We'll talk a lot more about it throughout the week. But Pat and Dolph on the call coming up on Saturday at Kinnick Stadium. We got more to get to. Coming up after the break, we'll go to the high school level. Our good friend Ty Taylor from WRMJ will join us to talk a little track football and a lot more. You're watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Wednesday right here in the Quad Cities.
Give me the keys. Learning to drive can be stressful for both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need mobile party experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile party experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your mobile party experience today. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. It's week 5 of the high school football season coming up fast. Can't believe it's week 5. Time flies when you're having fun. And as they say, it's cliche, but the games continue to get bigger and bigger, and that's obvious as the season goes along. But when you look at the Three Rivers Conference and the TRAC, it might be the biggest. It's arguably, and it is, the biggest week of the year because of 2 huge showdowns in both divisions. And so when you're talking huge and big and important, you have to go to everyone's favorite track expert and Taylor. Ty Taylor joins us now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Your normal Wednesday position. Are you getting the checks? Because I'm having them sent to you. I want to make sure you're getting paid for everything you're doing here.
Do you have my correct address? Because I haven't seen any checks come in the mail yet.
See, it's my wife. I'll tell her to do something. She never listens. I mean, you'll be married someday. You'll understand it. Sometimes they just don't listen, especially when it comes to money, Ty. It's crazy when that happens. But I appreciate you doing this every Wednesday. It's a bunch of fun. One of these Wednesdays, I know it's a pipe dream that you'll be here in studio in this fancy chair next to me talking. But another week of you in the beautiful WRMJ studios. You're busy. I get it. And it's a big week, my friend, is it not?
It's a huge week. I mean, you kind of alluded to off the top, there are 2 huge games in the Three Rivers this week, which we'll get into with Rockridge, at home against Newman. And then we have Monmouth-Roseville at Princeton, where it feels like, probably both conference championships or division championships, I should say, in the conference will be decided this week. So yeah, a big week, and I'm really excited to kind of preview it with you. And then obviously Friday should be a lot of fun.
Okay, here's my first question, and it's a tough question. If you didn't have to work on Friday night and you could go to one of these two games, Rockridge Newman or Monmouth Princeton, which one is Ty Taylor going to go watch?
I think I would go Rockridge Newman because I think that game has a higher likelihood of like coming down to the very final possession just because of how good both defenses are. Like I really believe that every single snap in that game is going to be super important for both offenses because it's so hard to move the ball against both of those defenses. Talking about Rockridge and Newman specifically. So I think that's the game I would pick to go out, but you really can't go wrong because Monmouth-Roseville and Princeton is super interesting too, based on, what happened last year in that game with Monmouth-Roseville kind of, dominating Princeton in a really surprising manner, I would say, beating them 31-3. So seeing how Princeton responds to that from a year ago is interesting too. So both games, certainly you can't go wrong if someone listening is on the fence about going to one or the other. But to me, I would go Rockridge Newman by a hair over Monmouth-Roseville Princeton.
All right, so that's where we're going to start. We're going to start in Edgington, beautiful Edgington. I probably am going to do my show on Friday in Edgington. I'm going to test some internet here in the next 48 hours just to make sure. It's important if you're doing an internet-based YouTube show that you get good internet. So we're going to test that, but obviously it's a huge game. Two top 5 teams. I want to say top 3 teams. You can update me on the rankings as we go, but 2 teams. And this game, gosh, we talked earlier this off season. Greg and I and a bunch of us did. I think you voted. You may have, you may not have. I can't remember. But we did a best rivalries in the Illinois Quad Cities, and this one was up there. And it's not been that long. You know what I mean? It's like you can't go back to the 80s and 90s and all those kind of things. It's become a great rivalry. 2 top 5 teams. The storylines write themselves. When you look at this game, Ty, what are the headlines to you when it comes to 2 really well coached and good teams?
Well, I think the biggest storyline to me is if Rockridge is going to be able to figure out Newman's defense, because the last 2 seasons, we've talked a lot about how great of a quarterback and how great of a player Colin Schweigen is, freshman year, sophomore year, now into his junior this year. Well, the only team that has really slowed him down in any capacity has been Newman, and they've gone 2-0 against him. I think in both games they held Rockridge to 1 offensive touchdown.
Wow.
Beat them by 1 score both 2 years ago, and then last year beat Rockridge in overtime. So for whatever reason, the Rockets and Schweigen haven't quite been able to kind of figure out that Newman defense yet. And I know last year especially, they just put a ton of pressure on him, really had him kind of on the run all night, and he wasn't able to really get comfortable, I felt like, in that game. So to me, that's the biggest story, is Rockridge responding to what Newman has done to them defensively the past 2 years. And then from there, kind of like the chess match within the game, once Rockridge adjusts to whatever Newman's doing, what Newman adjusts then back to try to get the upper hand again. So Rockridge's offense versus Newman's defense, I think, is maybe the most intriguing matchup in the game, just because of how explosive Rockridge's offense can be, and how great Newman's defense is year in and year out, and just the success they've had against Rockridge on the defensive end the past 2 seasons too.
You look at quarterback and you have Evan Bushman, who's probably on the 7-8 year plan, it feels like. And then Colin Schweigen's the same way, and he's got another year. 2 very experienced quarterbacks that know what they want to do on offense. And I think people look at this game and they think, wow, Rockridge scores a ton of points and all those kind of things. And Newman's efficient and can score it. Is it misleading? Because I have a feeling in recent years have showed this, they're lower scoring games. This isn't a 34-31 football game, is it? This is still a lower scoring game. Or how do you see that when it comes to dictating tempo? I'm sure Rockridge would love to score this thing in the 30s. How does it look when it comes to tempo and where this game's being played at?
Well, I think both defenses are really good. And to me, at least, I expect this game to be something where the first team that scores 3 touchdowns wins, probably, because I don't think both are going to score 3 touchdowns. Like I said earlier, the last 2 years, Newman has scored twice and Rockridge has scored once. And that was all the scoring in those 2 games. So to see this become a shootout would be really, I just don't see that happening. because we've talked a lot about Newman's defense, but Rockridge's defense is great too, and it's been really, really good over the past 2 or 3 years with a lot of these kids who've played a lot of downs for him. And we talked about it coming into the year. They had to replace, a couple of all-staters on the defensive end, but they've done so with flying colors so far, I think. So I do think that it's going to be a relatively low-scoring game. Like I said, I think maybe the first team to 3 touchdowns is maybe the only team to 3 touchdowns in the game. And then I know both teams have pretty strong kickers too, so maybe you could see that come into play if you get within the 20 but can't punch it in. Try to, maybe kick a field goal and get some points, because points certainly will be super important and hard to come by in this game for sure.
No, absolutely. Ty Taylor joining us right now and Off There with Matt Randazzo. I know you do your picks for WRMJ. Do you not want to give them away? You tell me, be honest. I think we should leave them to what you guys do.
I would give them away, but I haven't decided yet. I'm still kind of going back and forth on basically like 5 of 6 of the games in the league this week. So I've got to figure that out. I give Mitch and Greg the deadline of Thursday night, so I put mine in on Thursday night as well. So I got about a little over 24 hours to figure out where I want to go. But yeah, this is hard. I've kind of gone both ways on a lot of these games, and I'm trying to, settle on a pick in each of them. But this has been the most challenging week this year for sure.
No, absolutely. Ty Taylor joining us right now and Off There with Matt Randazzo. Let's flip to the other big game in this conference. And you mentioned it last year. I think Monmouth-Roseville got everyone's attention when they beat Princeton 31-3 down at their place. We talked with on the Instant Reacts, View from the West Instant React show, we talked with Coach Pearson, and the game's finally being played in Princeton. And it was weird. I think he said it's the first time since like 2018 or something crazy like that they've had this game in Princeton. Jeremy Adolphson, a master with the schedule. We appreciate that. I'm sure he loves that. But that, I think, got everyone's attention last year with Monmouth-Roseville. Princeton went on and had a great season and had a good playoff run. But I think people remember that game so much. What do you see in this game? And I hate to say, do you look back before you look ahead? But last year has to have some motivation when it comes to Princeton and what happened down there in Monmouth-Roseville?
I would think so. And I've said this before, but last year when Monmouth-Roseville beat them, it wasn't like surprising they beat them because I thought both teams were great, but it was really surprising how they just throttled them the way they did, winning by 4 scores and only giving up 3 points in that 31-3 win that you mentioned. This feels like, at least to me from the outside, Princeton, this season, it's kind of a mirror of probably what they feel like going into this game, where like last week they were off to an 0-2 start, got the forfeit win against Sherrard and hadn't played for 14 days and played against Keywine, and you knew those kids were just like chomping to play. I mean, they probably couldn't wait to get back out there, and they scored something like, they were up 40 at halftime, and it was something like maybe 40 points with like 10 minutes to go in the second quarter. And for them, I'm sure this is a game they've been waiting to play since they got beat last year, because the success they've had, they don't lose very often. They don't lose regular season games very often. They certainly don't come up short in like conference championship races very often either. So it's interesting seeing them in that kind of mode coming in, where a lot of the times, like most games coming in, they're like a heavy favorite, and the other team is the big underdog. I'm not saying they're an underdog. I think this is a very evenly matched game, but it's a different type of mindset they have coming in, which I think makes it interesting from their end, playing against Monmouth-Roseville, who beat them last year.
Look at this game, and you look at Monmouth-Roseville in general. I mean, they're 4-0. And they're like the quietest 4-0, I think, ever. What is it that you like about this team? Kind of talk a little bit about Monmouth-Roseville, because it's hard to be 4-0 and fly under the radar. But when it comes to the marquee biggest games in the conference, they haven't been involved in one yet until this week. How good is Monmouth-Roseville? And they've just been workmanlike and impressive all season long.
Yeah, so Monmouth-Roseville, they're 4 weeks so far. They haven't played the strongest of competition. I think the best team they've played has been Orion, who's 2-2. But I think the thing about for me that impresses me the most about them is just their physicality and their size. Like up front, they've got 5, 6, maybe even like 7 guys that are really big and physical, and they do such a good job of rotating their like offensive and defensive linemen in and out, where they're able to stay fresh, because a lot of the time their opponents are playing 3 or 4 guys up front both ways every snap all night long, where they're a program and a team that I think if they have a lead in the second half, they're really, really hard to come from behind on, because a lot of times they're more fresh than their opponent. And with the style they play, they're able to bleed clock and really control the ball, which I think is important, especially when you look into trying to advance in the postseason. And then, their backs have been great. Nick Houston has become such a great lead back for them after they lost to All-State kid and Peyton Thompson last year. And then their fullback, Landon Montroy, has just had a monster year, kind of taking over that spot in full. And then defensively, they've done a really strong job, too, of just keeping teams in check and being able to get out to the leads that I mentioned that allows them then to just control the clock with what they're able to do on the offensive end. So really, they've been a complete team for sure all season long. This is definitely, though, the best team that they've played to this point, without a doubt. And their schedule is fun, too, because if you look down the line, they have this game against Princeton this week. And then I think weeks 8 and 9, they play Rockridge and Newman. So they have 3 really high-level games in the final, back half of the schedule.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Are you still flipping a coin on this one, I'm assuming?
I am flipping a coin on this one as well, but both of the big ones for sure. I'm just having a hard time figuring out, it's hard to pick a favorite because I think both teams are so even in both of these games that we've talked about. So I don't know, maybe I will end up just flipping a coin and put Monmouth-Roseville heads, Princeton tails, and see what I get.
I just hate, I'm not being wishy-washy or anything. I don't know. I'd like to, I don't want to pick Rockridge Newman, because if I do the wrong team and I got to go there on Friday, they might not welcome me. There might not be an internet to be used if I don't do that correctly. This game, I'm really impressed with Princeton last week. I loved what they did. You kind of expected it, but you look at them, they're 2-2. But the 2 losses are against 2 really good teams, and they blew a lead against one of them. So yeah, it's tough to pick. Monmouth-Roseville hasn't been tested yet, and now they got to go on the road for the first test. So yeah, I kind of lean Princeton to make people in Monmouth-Roseville mad, just because of what happened last year. But yeah, I haven't made a pick just yet. I'll do that on Friday when we're on the road with the show. Other games in this conference, and I think a fun one, and I'm going to be on the call on MC22 for it. John Marks is going to put up with me for an entire night. God bless him. Orion and Riverdale, and you mentioned Orion 2-2. They've had some really good wins. They've had some disappointing defeats. Their offense didn't do much last week, and that's again so rare. Now they go to Riverdale, who differing styles. I think that's the amazing thing about this game is one team's going to throw the ball all over the yard, the other team's going to run the wing tee and do it really high level. Your thoughts on Chip Filler versus Guy Derricks and the Rams versus the Chargers?
Well, this is a game that is really important, and we talked coming into the year, about both divisions, and we've got into it obviously so far talking about Rockridge, Newman, and Monmouth-Roseville, Princeton, where it felt like in both divisions of the conference there are 2 teams that are kind of in a class of their own, and then the other 4 teams are below them. And in the Rock division, we expected these games to be super competitive, and I do think when you look at the other 4 teams in the Rock, meaning Orion, Riverdale, then also Erie, Provincetown, and Mercer County, feels like Mercer County kind of has fallen to the bottom of that division. But then the other 3 teams, talking about this matchup specifically, Orion and Riverdale, then you throw in Erie, Provincetown as well. It feels like 2 of those teams probably will get to play into the playoffs, and one of them probably won't, just based on how these matchups go. So I think, whoever comes out on the right end of the head-to-head matchups, because all 3 of those teams still have to play each other, starting with, Orion and Riverdale going at it this week. So I think, the head-to-head games between those 3 teams will determine which 2 get into the playoffs and which team, comes up just a little bit short, because the team that probably goes, maybe 0-2 against the other 2 teams probably will end up 4-5 on the year. But I guess there is potential that maybe they all go 1-1 against each other and all end up 5-4 somehow. And there's 5 out of 6 teams in one division in the playoffs, which would be really cool. But yeah, this matchup is interesting with kind of the clash of styles. Riverdale's defense has been really, really good outside of the game against Rockridge, which isn't really like a fair litmus test, I guess. They gave up 49 to Rockridge, but outside of that, they shut out Mendota, gave up 1 touchdown to Kewanee, gave up 1 touchdown to Mercer County. So the strength of their defense, how they've played so far this year, I think will be interesting compared to the strength of Orion's offense. And it'll be interesting, too, to see Riverdale's secondary versus that Orion passing attack, because I do think Riverdale is certainly stronger up front. But the only thing that worries me for Riverdale on their end is just, can you be able to withstand the passing attack and the no-huddle offense that Orion likes to run? Because we've seen it this year when they get that, really rolling, it can be hard to stop. So this feels like a game that has potential to be somewhat high scoring, maybe kind of a different type of game than what we're expecting with Rockridge and Newman.
Oh, I'm expecting to be there till the wee hours of the morning. I think it's going to be a lot of points, and I'm okay with that. I'm expecting it. I'm ready to rock. Quickly, the rest of the games in the conference: Hall and Kewanee go head to head. Erie, Prophetstown, and Mercer County. I talked to some Mercer County folk at a or people, I don't know if they're folk, but people at a track meet, a cross country meet on Saturday, and I know that's a team, and you're going to be on that call that needs a victory in a bad way. And Erie Prophetstown, you just talked about them wanting to get into the postseason, so that game on WRMJ as well. And I want to talk to you about Sherrard real quick, because hats off to them. They went on the road and nearly got a victory last week after everything they've been through. And then after everything they've been through and they're ready to go and they're healthy again, now they're without their starting quarterback because of a one-game suspension because of an ejection. It just seems like it's been a season full of obstacles or bad luck, maybe in a way, when it comes to Sherrard, but a winnable game for them at home against Mendota.
Yeah, an important game for them, and I think like adversity is the word for me that I talk about with Sherrard football. Not just this year, but it feels like they just have some sort of curse or hex on them in football specifically, where like all of these crazy things that you've never seen happen before, like happen to them on a weekly basis almost. You know what I mean? Like they have, sickness go through their program. They have to forfeit a game last week. They go on the road with like, I think 26 or 27 kids against a Hall team. It's their homecoming. I mean, played great for the most part, are leading at halftime. And then, a kid who's a returning All-Stater gets ejected in a really kind of strange way that you've never really seen before, with like a ball carrier stiff arming. It was a violent stiff arm, I think, but I mean, I don't know. It's tough to me to see you eject a kid who's like carrying the ball. You know what I mean? I don't think there was any malice in the play. But despite all that, they kind of were limping their way to the finish line. I know they had like a 10-plus minute drive in the third quarter while they were leading that they stalled inside the 20 and weren't able to score on. And they give up a big pass play late to kind of fall in the final couple of minutes. So it has been a challenging, season for them for sure. But I think you have to give those kids a lot of respect for still, gutting it out and coming out and playing hard. And it's going to be a challenge this week. Now, I believe Carter Brown can play beginning in the fourth quarter. I think it's four quarters you miss. So that's a rule they changed a couple years ago. So he can come in, I guess, out of the bullpen in the fourth quarter if it's a close game to try to get them to the finish line this week. But, it's been tough. And I give, like I said, the kids a lot of credit and Coach McGuire a lot of credit, because it feels like, they were a couple of plays away from potentially beating Mercer County. I think, and I've said this to people, if Carter Brown didn't get hurt, he got hurt in the first quarter against Mercer County. I think if he didn't get hurt against them, they would have won that game, to be honest with you, against Mercer County a couple of weeks ago. So, it's just been, like you said, obstacle after obstacle for them. So, again, another week where they got to kind of pull themselves up out of the dust and see if they can put together a strong performance. And I'm sure, without a doubt, they'll play hard for sure on Friday night, which is, something you can count on these kids to do for sure.
I mentioned appealing the suspension on the View from the West post show, Instant React show, and Stockpile scolded me, like, you cannot do that. But I'm like, all right, Stock. You don't want to get Stockpile upset. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to let it leave, or let it go. So I did that with Stock as well.
So speaking of that, I've heard that they've gone through the process of actually, there is an appeal process. So you were right.
Yes.
And it's very rare that like at the high school level, you'll get that overturned, but I believe Sherrard has initiated that process. At least I don't expect, I would give it like a 0% chance of anything coming of that, but I believe there is a process, and they have started that process at some point earlier in the week.
Ty, that's why you're my favorite Taylor, because what you're saying is I was right and Stockpile was wrong, and that's all I need in life. So WRMJ has the Erie Prophetstown Mercer County game, the Orion Riverdale game, Mendota and Sherrard game, and of course one of the big ones. You'll also have Newman and Rockridge, all on the WRMJ powerhouse that is led by the one and only Ty Taylor. Ty, I appreciate this each and every week. I look forward. How are you doing in your picks? Are you beating those two knuckleheads?
I am up by 1 game on them. I did win last year, so I'm trying to defend my crown.
Nice.
So I'm hoping this is a big week though, because I think there will be a lot of games that have like differing picks. So this is we're calling it moving week.
I like it. Hey, and people ask, are you a Greg guy? Are you a Mitch guy? I'm a Ty guy. I've been saying it from the jump. So if they get T-shirts, I'm a Ty guy is what I'm going with. Hey, my friend, enjoy your Friday night. We'll catch up with you again soon.
Thank you. And real quick, Coach Chip Filler wanted me to say something to you before I wrap up. I
Oh,
told him
no.
I'd do it at the end of the segment.
Okay.
He asked you because you asked Kale and Owen about if they'd be able to beat or which one of their dads would win in a foot race or whatever in a 40-yard dash. Then you asked me if Stocking or my dad would win. So Coach Filler wanted me to ask you, one, what your obsession is with 40-yard dash times, and then 2, he said, why don't we all just get online and race Randazzo?
I'll race Chip right now. Let's go. Let's do. When do you want to do it? We'll do it next week. We'll go to Orion. I'll race Chip right now. I'm 46 years old. I'm fat. I'm out of shape. I'll probably lose, but I'd love it. So Chip, there it is. 40-yard dash at Orion High School. I expect to be hearing from you anytime now. So Ty, I appreciate. Thank you for stirring the pot even more. I appreciate that. All right, buddy. We'll see you soon. Be good.
Thanks, man.
All right, Ty Taylor from WRMJ getting me in some trouble. I'm supposed to have a horse competition with Anger already. We've talked about that since the start of the show last January, and he's dodged me every step of the way. So I'm sure Chip would do the same and just dodge me. So anyways, we got more to get to coming up after the break. Our weekly Ness Guess segment. We got a winner. We got more picks to get to. Ness Guess is back, and it's taken off once again here in the Quad Cities. All that, much more. You're watching Off the Air on a Wednesday right here in the Quad Cities.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. Time for my favorite segment of the week. It's Ness Guess week 4. We're through 3 weeks. And you don't seem like yourself.
No, I'm a little sad this week. I'm wearing all black, mostly because of school. It's blackout day for Spirit Week, homecoming week, but I don't wear black anyway because I lost last week. I didn't just lose. I lost bad. I had a 4-game lead. Now it's only a 1-game lead. I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
You're on a hot streak.
Yeah, it feels good because I don't normally
Stop.
get to do this. I don't normally get to and I was worried because I thought that this thing was going to be over early.
Well,
if you would have won, if you would have done
yeah,
what I did.
and I didn't want to be up.
Then we're talking.
I didn't want to be up 3-0. So people get bored.
Entertainment-wise,
yes,
it's a good
there we
thing.
go. See,
but we got a lot to get to before we get to the picks this week. I gained 3, so I went 16-4. You went 13-7, which is crazy that we're getting so. We're adding games. I think it's 21 games this week.
We'll be up to 40. Who knows?
Well, I got the college ones done.
And I know, and then we added one.
I didn't even put Oregon.
So
and
how many do we have this week?
So we have 6 college, and I think we're going to have
22,
21. I think maybe 22.
There's 16 NFL games.
Yeah, but we don't do the Thursday night.
Oh, you're right.
So
okay.
I think it's 15 and 6.
15
so 21.
and 21. Lucky 21.
So the good news for me is I'm ahead.
You're back in the race.
The big thing is too the reason I'm back in the race is because the Lions won.
Oh,
I mean that was the one I thought
everything
I giving you back, and I got that one on Monday.
I know.
Night,
I thought that was so. Everything that could have gone wrong for me went wrong. The Illini, we got through that on Saturday, and I said, okay. I told my wife, I said, I'm down 1, but I can still do this because I still got the Lions in my back pocket.
Yeah.
I got the Bears in my back pocket. I just have to win 3 out of 4. I can do this. Well, then. We split on the 2 early games, and I said, okay, I still got the Bears and Lions. And then the Bears just destroyed the Cowboys, and I may never pick the Cowboys again.
we do this all the time. We're going to get to a point where Ness can't pick anybody ever again because when they wrong him, we do need to say a couple quick things. One, we are at
Hungry
Hobo and Hungry Hobo in my island. This is my home one. This is the one I go to a lot. Really? So we thank Hungry Hobo. We wouldn't be able to do this without Hungry Hobo. They've been a longtime sponsor, obviously, of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, but a longtime sponsor of a lot of the things you did back with the Rock Island
we did scoring
else.
Updates for years. It was for years.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of it. We actually won a innovative advertising trophy, which I still have at my house.
Well, you got to bring it one of these times.
I should.
And
your
bobblehead.
And my bobblehead. I'm saving. We have a long season to go.
Yeah.
And I get my bobblehead.
I do have good news for you. This is completely off the subject, but I have the rest of your. So Ness won the March Madness.
I was just thinking.
I've given some of it, but I haven't given him all of it. So I got some more gift certificates over.
So Kyle Karstens messaged me and he says, "I won last week. How do I get my prize?" And I said, "I'll let Dazzo know." And I wanted to say, but don't hold your breath.
Yeah, because
I won in March. I think it was March, and the NCAA tournament.
The good thing is I didn't use it. I just hadn't gotten it to you yet. And Kyle, we got yours coming.
I got certificates coming.
Sanchez won.
We won week 1, yeah.
And we got his taken care of. Got to get Kyle's. And here, our week 3 winner is Charles Randazzo. Charlie
is he any relation?
He's a slight relation.
And I remember Charlie because Charlie was born, I think, the day that I substituted for you, and John Marks and I substituted for you on your a Sunday night show. It was a Sunday night show, and we thought you would be in there.
I got to take everything full circle.
Okay.
So you're right. So when Charlie was born, it was I feel like an old man here. It was a warm. No, it was the marathon Sunday.
Yes.
And I was going to cover the marathon, and Jen called and said, "Hey, baby's not. I want to go check it." And I knew we were going to have that baby, so I called John Marks. Who was on the show earlier this week, and I called Marc Nesseler. I said, "Hey, can you guys fill in? Because we only had one sports guy at the time, and you guys did a great job. Now let's take it full circle." Charlie, that was Charlie's birthday, obviously. It was his day he was born.
Sure.
He turned 16 on Saturday.
Wow.
So that was 16 years ago on Saturday.
Wow. And I can remember it all.
Yeah.
I remember us thinking that you were going to show up, and then lights, camera, action.
Yeah.
And Marks and I just look at that camera and say, okay, who's going to talk first? And I thought we did pretty well.
Yeah.
I thought we did okay.
No, you did great.
Thanks.
You did fantastic.
And I'm glad it's never happened again.
It's the best story ever.
Yeah.
That's the thing I thought of when it was going down is forever. I'm going to talk about when my first son was born and these two guys that Blake Jr. is going to be nice. These two guys that are mentors that are legends in the business when it comes to sports in the Quad Cities that I grew up in the same neighborhood as, and they were the cool guys that were in the newspaper. They're in the newspaper up the street. So it was really cool for me. So, anyways, Charlie is your winner. He went 16-4. I do have to give some love to some other people because 5 people went
16-4.
Went 16-4.
And
now
lost on
I
the
did,
tiebreaker.
and my wife put it in here that I did too, but I don't count.
While you're looking that up, I just want to point out Colts hat this week, as promised. Christy Mindrup, Colts hat. I knew I had one, but I didn't realize it was from 2006.
Yeah?
Like 19 years ago. And that's because I had Peyton Manning on my fantasy football team back in the Dispatch Argus days, where our sports department had drafts and teams. And I had a little Peyton Manning statue on my desk, and he carried me to like a couple championships. So I thought, well, I was deserving of A, a figurine on my desk, and B, a hat. And I still have it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I cannot find, of course, the email that I need to have, but I do know that Justin Rossler went 16 and 4, and it came down to the tiebreaker, and Justin had 72, Charlie had 67. It was at 68, and they went for 2. So if they would have gotten the 2 point,
if they make the
Ross
2,
would have won.
Oh wow!
And if not, and I knew like Charlie was pretty excited they didn't get the 2 point conversion. I was thinking about a win. I'm like, all right, they didn't get the Ravens, didn't get the 2 point conversion.
No.
And he's like, no, Dad, I need the hobo.
I need
said, I love that.
I need the hobo.
when
There's the
you
quote.
turn 16 on Saturday, you can drive.
Yep.
So he's like, I don't even have to rely on you guys. I can just go and get some hobo. I said, we got to get a car first, and that's a whole different story.
I need the hobo.
Yes, I need
That's going to be a sign. That's good.
So yeah, so here's where we sit. We're one game apart.
One game apart. I don't even know what our overall is. Do you even care?
I do
like
know
what our overall record
I
is.
can go look it up. I know we're.
I think we're pretty.
Different.
I think we're pretty good, though. I mean, percentage-wise.
Yeah.
I think we're doing really, really well.
Yeah, I mean,
we haven't had
if
any.
You're losing by 3 and you're still 13 and 7. That's not bad.
Yeah, even though I said like if I'm 5 and 18 and you're 4 and 19, I'm happy with that. But I'm not happy with that because I want us both to do well.
What stood out to you last week?
How bad Illinois was.
Man.
I
thought I had an
how
advantage
decent,
taking Indiana.
how
I didn't think it was
decent the
that
Bears
one.
were.
Yeah.
How surprising I thought the Lions were. I
couldn't
didn't expect that. And you know what? I'm thinking that the Ravens have a jinx because they've fumbled twice in games and endings of games
in the fourth quarter.
How did the Packers lose to the Browns? How did the Packers
I don't
lose
know
to the
if
Browns?
Anybody got that?
I mean,
should go look and see.
There's
if
no
anybody
way.
got that.
No
I don't
way.
think anybody.
No
picked
way.
that one
No
yet.
way. I mean, I still can't believe it. And now the Browns play the Lions. And I'm hoping you say, you know what? If they can beat the Packers, they might beat the Lions. No, you're not going to. I'm just dreaming. I'm dreaming. I'm dreaming.
Yeah. So I did say last week, and go look at the tape, I did pick the Packers, and I did, but I said it's going to be a lot closer than what people thought.
It was.
And I wanted to pick it, Ness. I did. And if I was
if you'd have done that.
If I was in the driver's seat, I might have. But I'm like, I can't give any more away.
I
gave you Central Michigan. That's the difference right now is they gave you Central Michigan earlier in the week. And
Stop.
It's going to come back to that.
Stop. I gave you Illinois on week 1 against Duke. So
you did. So
we're okay.
All right, so here's the deal.
I'm going to give you a couple this week, too, I think.
We got about 3. We have about 5 or 6 games we'll go through today. But, again, once you're watching this, the picks will be up. You go to my social media. Ness puts it on his as well. It's a simple click of a link. You put your name and I think your email in, and it's free as can be.
And phone, I think there's a phone number.
Maybe phone number, yeah. So I can finally get you your prize. And it goes click, and you just go through and you're good to go.
Yep.
And they've gone up and up. We want to continue that trend to go up and up when it comes to people getting in the contest as well. So
we love that.
Please take part in it. And again, once again, thank you to Hungry Hobo for allowing us to do this and letting us crash these hobos. We started at Rock Island. We went to Browning Field.
And
now we're in Milan.
How many
we
are
gotta
there?
get out. I think there's. I don't want to get Price mad at me.
I
want
know.
to say like 13 or 14.
Wow, we could do a whole season.
I think we could.
I'm in.
One of them I want to get to is
Bring it on the road.
I do want to get up to LeClaire. That's one on the river.
Oh, yeah.
One of these nights we'll have like a nice candlelight dinner. Me and Ness we'll do the show up there. So okay, well let's get going. We'll start in college. And Ness, I think when you look at the college slate that we have,
it's hard. It's harder than the pros. I mean, the games you have on there are ridiculous.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
And we didn't have Iowa on last week, and I would have picked Iowa, but we didn't want to do the Friday early one.
Yep.
So
right.
And they did win at Rutgers, and then we all saw what Indiana was last week against. So now Indiana, coming off a huge emotional victory,
at
goes
home
to Kinnick Stadium, 2:30 homecoming in Iowa City. I know my pick. I'll let you go first. I won't make you do every one of them first, but I'll let you go first on this one.
Well, I'll go first on this one. Indiana, I think, caught the nation's attention by scoring a zillion points against the Illini, and I think was the Illini overrated? Yeah, probably. They weren't number 9. Was Indiana underrated? Yes. I think they're definitely a top 10 team. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, they really I was impressed by how quickly they scored and how easily they scored. It wasn't just the fact that they scored, but it's what they did to what I thought was a pretty good Illini defense. So I'm going to take Indiana. Who's favored?
Indiana by 7.5.
Oh, and okay. Well, then I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll take the Hoosiers to make it 2 in a row. Although I can't see them rolling the way they did over Illinois. That would shock me.
Yeah.
But I think they do win by 7-10.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at.
I will take the Hawkeyes. I think I'm kind of
you have to,
obligated to. But and beyond that, and more than just that, I love the spot. I love the emotional home victory for Indiana.
Yeah,
and now they got to
homecoming.
go.
Yeah.
Now they got to go on the road after that, and against an Iowa team at home, looking for that signature win. I like everything except for what I saw on Saturday night. That's the only thing I don't like, because I mean Indiana was really impressive, but I do think Iowa's ready for a signature victory. They play 3 teams that made the college football playoffs all at home this year: Indiana, Oregon, and Penn State. They get them all at Kinnick Stadium. I think even though Indiana looks great, this is the most winnable of those 3 games if they're going to get one of them.
And
I got the Hawkeyes. I'll take the Hawkeyes.
I think it's going to tell us where Indiana is, and I think it's going to tell us where Illinois is and Iowa. It's really a key game all the way around there.
No, absolutely. And who would have thunk that Indiana's good at football?
I would. Yeah.
I mean, and this is no joke. This is
now they are.
They're the losingest program in Power 5 history. I mean, that's how bad they've been.
And I said, they caught the attention of everyone.
Yeah. No, it wasn't a fluke last year. So, all right, we got one different already. Let's go. Illinois now. They laid that egg. And I'll even say this, Ness. I thought and I don't mean this in a negative way, but I thought they gave up in the second half.
Yeah, I agree.
I got 42-10.
I turned it off in the second half. So I'll take your word for it.
And Indiana won't stop playing. That's just what they are.
No,
that's what the coach does. I just felt, and I don't know if and that's not a Brett Bielema thing. I know that's something that'll drive me crazy. I do think they bounce back when it comes to being in a game at home, all those kind of things. I just think USC is really high-powered and good, and the injuries in the secondary for Illinois worry me. They worry me about the fact that they got some guys banged up, and they got Xavier Scott might be out for a while. So I'm going to go USC. I think it's a closer game. I don't think they get blown out, but I think USC's just got too much firepower, and the Illini dropped their second straight game.
I think they could get blown out. I don't the Illini. Here's why. USC has 0 turnovers so far. 0. They are they're leading the nation in sacks. 4th in the nation in TFLs, tackles for loss. Well, guess who's number 1 in tackles for loss? Indiana, with 10 last week. Yeah. I think it could get ugly. I'm glad I didn't revert to my Illini hat that I had 3 weeks ago, but I just think I think USC could be, and it's at Illinois though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's at Illinois.
So it's a lot's going to depend on, I think, that home crowd, whether they keep them in the game, or if USC strikes quickly, they just let it go.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it'll say a lot about, again, Illinois this week and last week. So it's going to be interesting. So I'm going to take USC.
All right.
Put it in the book.
Yeah. No.
And cross my fingers.
And we had Scott Dochterman on earlier this week, and he mentioned big picture of what this is like for Illinois. This is, one of those things where things could slip away pretty quickly.
Exactly what I just said.
It is a big victory.
A big game.
Or big game for the Illini.
Right.
Biggest game in the Big Ten, biggest game in the country. Oregon at Penn State. I'll let you go first on that.
Yeah, that was for the Big Ten title last year, and Oregon won. It is Happy Valley, which is a tough place to play
at night.
But I feel like, Matt, I think right now I was up 4, now I'm up 1. So I kind of feel like I'm playing defensively, and so I'm kind of predicting what you're going to pick, and then I pick the other. I know it's like this is like a game within a game. I'm going to take the Ducks, thinking that you're going to take Penn State.
Well, you're right. I'm taking Penn State.
Are you really?
It's at night. It's Happy Valley. I don't know if Penn State's the best team in the Big Ten, but I think at this point, if they want to win a Big Ten championship, they better hold serve at home.
And I don't know that Oregon's going to win. I don't even know what the line is, but I do know that I figured you're going to pick Penn State.
I like that.
So and this is like, it reminds me of you last week, where you picked Indiana over Illinois.
Yeah.
And I even said I like it because I feel like you're picking defensively, and I have an advantage. Now I feel like the shoe's on the other foot. I'm going to go the other way. So I'm going to take the Ducks, and if I lose, I'm going to duck.
I like it. And I'll go with Penn State. I don't know if they're the best team, but at home, at night, that place is crazy, so I got Penn State.
Yeah.
Let's go to the NFL.
Okay.
And we're going to kind of stick with the local teams, including my own. We'll go with the Bears first. The Bears get that signature win last week. They now have to go on the road to the Raiders. They're feeling good about themselves. I said last week, like, if Ben Johnson, if it's going to look right, that's the way it looks. He gets fourth downs, they go for it and they get it. A little trick play with the flea flicker. He looks like Dan Campbell in the post-game stuff and everything.
Yeah.
That's the way it's going to look if it's right. Do you want me to go first or you want to go first?
Go ahead and go first because I don't know where I'm going to go.
I'm going Raiders.
Okay.
I'm going on the road. I think they're at home. I don't know if they're very good, but I don't know if I think last week was more about Dallas being really bad than the Bears being really good. So I'm going to go with the home team in a close one, and I'll go with the Raiders.
And I assume I'm off the hook for saying that I'll never pick the Bears again.
Yes, you can, yeah.
Okay, so here's the deal with the Bears. The Bears were horrible because I had Williams as my fantasy backup quarterback to Jalen Hurts. He hasn't played yet, but he was a backup quarterback. So I dropped him. What happens when I drop him? He throws 4 TDs. Okay, so I'm saying, okay, somebody just picked up a really good quarterback. So who did I replace him with? Replaced him with Michael Penix Jr.
Oh, Ness.
Who now is benched.
Yeah.
Because they're now throwing darts out there, right? No,
they got shut out last week.
They got shut out to the Carolina Panthers. Oh my! So I dropped Penix. So you want to know who I put the jinx on this week? All you fantasy owners out there, Sam Darnold.
Oh.
So just so you know, okay,
stay away.
Stay away. Stay away. Take
take the unders.
So anyway, the Bears made me mad. The Cowboys made me mad because I picked the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. But then I realized that Ben Johnson finally figured out how to use Caleb Williams. I really think that's true. And so I am going to legitimately, not because you picked the Raiders. I originally had the Raiders, and you can see on my paper, I squared the Bears. We're all square now, Bears. We're all square.
We're all good.
I know Ben, my godson, is a big Raiders fan, but his mom is a Bears fan, I believe.
Okay.
So I'm in good graces with that family no matter what. I'm going to take the Bears. All right. And we're really we're going to go one way or the other.
Yeah, because we're both.
We're already three different.
Out of 4 different.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. I think we'll probably get a few the same.
We're not going to get the Lions different. I'll tell you that.
All right, we'll go Packers and Cowboys first.
Packers and Cowboys.
Packers and Cowboys. It's the Micah Parsons game.
Yes.
It is in Dallas, so Micah comes back to Dallas.
That doesn't matter.
He's fired up. The Cowboys are 0-3. They go to 0-4. The loss. CeeDee Lamb, I don't think's available.
No, I don't think he is.
He is.
As a matter,
I'll let you go first, but I think we're going to be pretty similar.
Yeah,
to this.
by alphabet subtraction, with no CD, the Cowboys, I don't think, have any chance at all. I think Dak Prescott relies a lot on Lamb, and not having him, you could see the difference last week when they were basically not there. So, I think the Packers are just I think they're a solid pick, and I would take the Packers. Maybe if the Cowboys showed up last week, I might have gone them again. I might have, but now it's because it's at home. But I can't see going the Packers.
Yeah.
I can't see going the Cowboys. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the Packers.
Yeah, I'll follow you. The way they lost last week, I don't want to be any part of any team that has to play the Packers. I think I know that LaFleur was pretty ticked off because some of his players were talking about going undefeated during the week last week about going 17-0.
How did the Packers lose to the Browns? I still don't get it. Still don't get it.
So I think they're going to be like all the focus in the world and all those kind of things. And I think it could be a party for Green Bay on national TV on a Sunday night game. So we'll go sit together there. Last one we'll do together here. Lions and Browns. The Browns coming off that big victory. The Lions short week. After a Monday night, that Monday night hangover. I don't care how
you want to try and convince me.
Anything that I can, I'm going Lions.
But I mean, the Bills over the Saints is my solid confidence pick.
Yeah,
I think it is for everybody. If anybody that is picking a confidence pick, it has to be the Bills. I think Lions are my second.
Yeah,
I mean, I really do. I don't care what the Browns. The Browns did not convince me. They're good defense.
Yeah,
solid defense. But I think that the Lions offensively are showing much more aggression than the Packers.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So I think it's a different Lions offense. I think the Packers kind of took for granted. I think they took for granted that they were going to make that field goal.
Yeah.
and that they were going to cruise to the finish.
Yeah.
And son of a gun, if it's not over with a return missed field goal, blocked field goal, and I was very confident in the Packers last week.
Yeah.
They were like my 12 out of 16.
Yeah.
And so that wasn't good. We have a lot of games on our 21 game schedule.
It's getting bigger.
It's going to be interesting. So I think people will want to go and see how we match up. Right now we're at 3 different.
And remember, the loser takes a pie in the face.
Well, I was thinking about that. We talked about last week about doing a hobo spice cake to the face, and I'm thinking I might be okay with losing.
I try to eat it.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Take that pie in the face with my mouth open.
I got that video of you and the pies, and I take so many times you put a pie in my face. I just want to put something in your face. I don't know what it is. I don't care. I just want to do that. So, we have 3 different. I'll say this about the Lions too. Since week 1, the last 2 games, they have 6 touchdowns rushing, 6 touchdowns passing.
Wow.
They haven't given up a sack.
And Gibbs is running like crazy.
And they haven't turned the ball over.
Gibbs is running like crazy.
So yeah, I really like that. And
St. Brown.
The thing with me, Ness, it's like trusting. Like when you live your entire life not trusting a team and you're used to a team, I still have trouble. I always look for the word. They got up 38-24 the other night. And my kids are like, Dad, it's over. And I'm
That's what I thought.
It's not over.
I turned it off.
And it was. I mean, they were up 14 points with 2 minutes to go. I mean, but if something bad's going to happen,
I've seen crazy.
It's going to be my team.
I've seen crazy. So I got one bone to pick with the Lions.
Okay.
And that's Laporta. If he scores a touchdown, I win my fantasy football game.
Well, he just didn't get a touchdown. Yeah.
In Ben's league, and I lose by 4. Come on, it's a tight end.
If you guys notice that Ness does a Survivor League, some fantasy football leagues.
I'm in all
he's in everything, but he's in Ness Guess too. So that's the beauty.
But out of all those, I want to win this one the most.
I know.
I want to beat Matt Randazzo.
Yes.
So 15 more weeks.
Everybody listen, and we have new viewers in Central Iowa as well.
Yes.
So and that works. So just go to my social media.
Is that Iowa State?
That's in that area.
Okay, we ought to.
We didn't pick
It's on our yeah, but
I'm picking Iowa State too.
I'm picking Iowa State too, just so you know.
To make sure you're happy. But get on there, go to my social media, Ness's social media. We'll get the link everywhere you want it to be. Go fill it out. Almost 40 years of doing Ness Guess. 37. We took a little break and it's back.
Now it's 38. I can add a year.
No, it's
38th year.
We're already talking about 40 and how we celebrate.
2 more years.
Hear that price? Hear that Hungry Hobo? We're
Hungry Hobo, we need you.
A long deal here, but we're at the Milan Hungry Hobo, and I'll
with
tell you,
a big crowd.
And it's early when we take this on Tuesdays at 4, and it is busy. And my kids always get the waffle fries, and we get something to drink. So
people waving at us, asking. Matt Randazzo's autograph.
No, nobody's
ever.
Nobody's ever asked that. Nobody's ever asked that. So we appreciate Ness as always. I appreciate you doing this. And
I love it.
Get into the Ness Guess. We'll talk about it next week. Congratulations to Charlie Randazzo for winning. And we got much more to get to. You're watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Wednesday, right here in the Quad Cities. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Yeah, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday, September 24th. Thank you guys so much for joining us, whether you're watching us on YouTube or X or on the audio form of things, the podcasting, or viewers in Central Iowa as well. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing so. It's been a fun show. We started our Wednesday like we normally do, talking Iowa State and talking Cyclones with Jake Brend. That was a blast. If you missed that, go back and check it out. Also, always interesting to talk to Pat Anger, and he had a lot to talk about, not just the football side of things, which we got a lot of great stuff there, but a sleepless weekend for him, a big award for him, a new segment maybe on Iowa radio called Fat Pat's Stats, which I think has a nice ring to it as well. So always great to check in and catch up with Pat Anger. Also, thank you to Ty Taylor. I'll put it all together. Ty Taylor from WRMJ. It will be a huge week 5 of high school football. We'll talk about that much more Thursday and Friday on our shows coming up. And then, of course, always great to have Ness Guess on. Marc Nesseler, longtime sports writer here in the Quad Cities, a sports writing legend. And did Ness Guess at a high level for 37 years. It's been gone for the last 6 or 7, and we got it back here on OTA. So make sure you get to our social media, get your picks filled out, win some great prizes from Hungry Hobo this week as well. Don't forget, OTA will go on the road on Friday. We think Rockridge. We're going to test it out. We'll have a final answer on that coming tomorrow. The Hawkeye Tailgate Show will kick off your Iowa radio coverage on the Hawkeye Radio Network coming up at 12:30 on Saturday. Don't forget about that. All over the state of Iowa on the Hawkeye Radio Network here in the Quad Cities. It's on Vintage Radio, 107.7 WQUD. So check that out as well. And we're going to have much more throughout the week. It's been a great week so far. If you missed any of it, Gary Dolphin, Chuck Long, Scott Docterman, Tom Kakert, John Schlemmer, the list goes on and on. Go check out our shows on the YouTube channel. Go to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out if you missed any of it. And we'll be back with a brand new show coming up tomorrow. Also, one more note. We do have our Skiles Drive of the Week still coming your way. I got to check on one thing real fast before we can run it. So we're going to do that tomorrow. So a lot later in the week than we like, but your Skiles Driving School Drive of the Week coming up tomorrow right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Also tomorrow we will continue to preview the Iowa-Indiana game with Tom Kakert and hopefully a special guest with that as well. We're going to talk Ryder Cup. That starts on Friday. My good friend Craig DeVries, who's covered a lot of golf in his days, will join me tomorrow as well. Try to check in with the Illini, maybe a Jim Madsen interview tomorrow as well. So a lot to get to coming up tomorrow and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. But thank you guys for watching today's show, and we will see you back here again tomorrow.